All right, thanks for tuning in. You're listening to Gnostic Studies. And we're going to continue with our Gnostic Tarot and Kabbalah series. First, we're going to review last week's material with the handout from Arcanum 2. So we talked about the second Arcanum and how it's related with the Hebrew letter Bet. It's got the priestess or the popess as its names, and sometimes in French it's called the sanctuary. It symbolizes woman, the wife of the magician, right? We talked about how the magician was the first card. It symbolizes man. He shows his right side. The woman, the second Arcanum, symbolizes woman, shows the left side. It's related with occult science and imagination. Talked about the description of the card. And we wanted to go over the related explanation, because it's usually from Eliphas Levi, and he almost always has something useful to tell us that will assist us. So again, we want to invite you to for your questions and comments. If you have any, please leave them, and we'll do our best to answer them. So the related explanation of the previous Arcanum says, occult science is the absolute and complete possession of the truth. The sages of all the centuries have themselves trembled in front of this absolute and terrible word, science. They feared assuming for themselves the first privilege of divinity by attributing science to themselves, and they were content, instead of using the verb to know, which is a verb that expresses knowledge, or using the word science. Instead, they have adopted the term gnosis, which simply expresses the idea of knowledge gained through intuition. The unity, which refers to Arcanum 1, cannot manifest itself except through the binary, right? The Tao, the unity, expresses itself through yin and yang. In order to make light visible, God had only to imagine shadow. In order to manifest the truth, he rendered doubt impossible. He rendered doubt possible. And in the original French, it doesn't have to be he. But that's the way we translate it in English. Right? We could say, in order to manifest the truth, God rendered doubt possible. The shadow is the extractor of the light, and the possibility of error is necessary for the temporal manifestation of truth. The binary is the unity multiplying itself in order to create. And it is for this reason that the sacred symbolism of Genesis makes Eve come from the breast of Adam. Right? Because Adam is the Arcanum 1, Eve, Arcanum 2. All right, well, we'll put that down for now. And there's also on the handout, in addition to the other information and the picture of the card, we have a practice using the imagination and willpower together. Another practice that we mentioned, which is to work with the Divine Mother, saying a prayer and a mantra. And then there's other cards. You can see some of them capture the symbolism that we've mentioned, and some of them are missing certain symbolism, or inverted, we could say. All right, well, let's put that down, and we'll jump into today's class. Let's see here. All right, we're on Arcanum 3, Gimel. Yep, thanks for everyone that's participating right now. We appreciate it. And look forward to sharing more with you about this interesting theme called Gnosis, which teaches us how to see the universe and ourselves and existence itself in a totally different way. At the beginning of Arcanum 3 on the webpage, which we'll drop into the chat in case you want to follow along with us. We have this interesting series of symbols, which, as we mentioned, are all the symbols related to Arcanum 3. There's many, many more, because since Arcanum 3 and all the numbers, each number corresponds to a letter, all we have to do is understand that ancient alphabets were united with numeric systems. We also mentioned that the Egyptian hieroglyphic is present in the upper left of the Gnostic Egyptian tarot, as is other numbers or letters. So anyway, some interesting symbols there from throughout the Middle East, we could say. Ancient and this one's modern. Arcanum number 3. It is said that it is the fashioner or modeler. Clearly, this is accomplished by means of the verb, right? Everything is fashioned in all of creation, in all of nature. Arcanum number 3 signifies success. It is material as much as spiritual production. The Kabbalistic Sephirah is Binah, right? We talk about Keter, Chokmah, Binah. This is the Sephirothic crown. The corresponds to the Holy Spirit in the Christian symbolism. Hebraic letter Gimel. As I mentioned, I don't exactly know how to pronounce them. I'm doing my best. The transcendental axiom. Your loom is weaving fabric for your use and fabric that you will not use. All right. So remember, the fashioner or modeler is accomplished by means of the verb. When we look at this first reading out of Manual of Practical Magic, it talks about the same theme. In the beginning was the verb, and the verb was with God, and the verb was God. In English, very often this verse is translated as in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. It's from John, book of John in the New Testament of the Christian Bible. If we analyze the Greek, we find that the word that is translated as verb here is logos. And verb carries the meaning of action, because a verb is some kind of action, right? So verb is maybe a little bit better to understand the principle behind this. Eliphas Levi in his, the book is translated in English as The Reconciliation of Science and Religion, something like that. But it's just the introduction or preliminary discourse of his doctrine of high magic or dogma of high magic. He talks about the verb and explains what it is. The disciple should vocalize 1 hour daily in order to awaken their occult powers. Clairvoyance. So now he's going to give us a bunch of mantrams that we can use. The mantram Chis serves to awaken the power of clairvoyance. This mantram is pronounced like this. Chis. Could be that the ch sound could be pronounced ch also, like more of a Middle Eastern type of ch. The syllable in also serves to awaken the power of clairvoyance. That syllable is vocalized like this. In. The mantram Ris is also used for clairvoyance. That mantram is vocalized like this. Ris. The mantram Isis is also a great mantram to awaken clairvoyance. That mantram is vocalized like this. Is. One hour of vocalization is better than reading 1 million books of theosophism, spiritism, etc. Clairvoyance is the same thing as imagination. For the wise, to imagine is to see. Whoever wants to become clairvoyant has to reconquer their lost infancy. The angel Aroch taught me the most powerful mantrams known to the world to awaken clairvoyance. Right? This is Samael and Veor talking, right? Whosoever wants to be clairvoyant must put an end to reasoning and accustom themselves to seeing all things with the imagination. The most powerful mantrams for clairvoyance are the first syllables that the child begins syllabifying during one's first years. These syllables are ma, ma, pa, pa. On pronouncing the first syllable ma, this syllable will be vocalized in a very high and acute manner. On vocalizing the second syllable ma, it will be vocalized in a very low manner. Let's try it. Ma, 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 ma. The same shall be done with the syllables pa, pa. Pa, 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 pa. One's voice is raised with the first syllable of each of the words, and then will be repeated many times, lowering the note. The master Viracocha, in his work entitled Logos Mantram Magic, says the following. Let us not forget life and its development in children. History repeats itself, and in them is the reflection of the creation of the cosmos. As a sure orientation for our existence, they, in their trembling babbling, first pronounce ae, 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 then ma, 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 later ba, ba. Their first gestures remind us of the B and the M. And it is there that we should therefore begin initiation, which in the opportune moment I shall teach you. The Pythonesses of Delphi received help from the god Apollo, and our disciples can invoke Apollo during their exercises to awaken their clairvoyance. The Pythonesses of Delphi awakened clairvoyance looking fixedly at water for entire hours, and our disciples can do the same. In the atoms of infancy, we have the power of clairvoyance. Those atoms are in our inner universe, and we can make them come to the surface through the syllables mama, papa. The frontal chakra, which is related with the syllable I, E, has 96 radiations and shines between our eyebrows like a lotus flower. This lotus flower has the pituitary gland as its foundation. Clairaudience. Clairaudience is the power to hear in the internal worlds. Clairaudience is the magical ear. Clairaudience awakens with the vowel E, pronounced eh. This vowel is combined with different letters to awaken the occult ear. The syllable N serves to develop the magical ear. It is vocalized like this. N. The mantram chess is very powerful to awaken the magical ear. This mantram is vocalized like this. Chess. There are some very powerful mantrams to awaken the magical ear. These mantrams are Aum, Chivatum, E. Aum is pronounced opening the mouth wide with the vowel A, rounding it with the U, and closing it with the M. The other syllables are pronounced prolonging the sound of each vowel, or over each vowel. The laryngeal chakra is located in the throat. It has 16 radiations. Its colors are marvelous. It looks like a lotus flower emerging from the thyroid gland. Intuition. The intimus, the inner being, resides in the heart. God is in the heart. Whosoever awakens the chakra of the heart acquires intuition. Whosoever awakens the chakra of the heart acquires the power to conjure the wind and the hurricanes. Whosoever awakens the chakra of the heart learns to study all things with the heart, and they become wise. The chakra awakens with the vowel O. The syllable on is used to awaken the chakra of the heart. The syllable is vocalized in this manner. On. The mantram Chos also serves to awaken the chakra of the heart. This mantram is vocalized in this manner. The Lord's Prayer, or Our Father, is the most grandiose magical power to awaken the chakra of the heart. To pray is to converse with God. The Lord's Prayer serves in order to converse with God. The disciple will lie down on their bed comfortably. They will put aside from their mind all types of earthly thoughts, and then, very slowly, they will meditate during whole hours on each of the words and phrases of the Lord's Prayer, as if trying to converse with the Father who is in the heavens. During this exercise, the disciple should become profoundly sleepy. In visions of dreams, the Father who is in the heavens will appear to the disciple, and the disciple will be able to converse with him in a familiar manner. The Father will be able to make the disciple see certain visions that the disciple should learn to interpret with the heart. In this way, all disciples can converse with God. The cardiac chakra has 12 radiations and luminous undulations. The mantram Omnis Jaum Intimo serves to communicate with the intimus, the inner being, right, our inner divinity. This mantram shall be vocalized mentally. The disciple will lull themselves to sleep adoring their inner divinity, their intimus, and mentally pronounce the mantra omnis jaum intimo, which is pronounced omnis jaum intimo in English, because the J sometimes in Spanish is a Y sound. The disciple will be able to converse with their intimus. Intimus will appear to the disciple in visions during sleep. The mantra to awaken intuition is Om Mani Padme Yom. This mantra is vocalized like this: Om Masi Padme Yom. The vocalization is letter by letter like this: Om Masi Padme Its meaning is, "Oh, my God in me." This mantra is vocalized adoring the intimus, rendering homage to the intimus. The intimus is the most high in us. The intimus is our individual spirit. Ancient humanity was instinctive. Aristotle initiated the age of reason that culminated with Immanuel Kant, the philosopher of Königsberg, and has now entered old age, finalizing that sign of Pisces. This book was written in 1952, I believe. I, Aon Veor, am the initiator of the age of intuition. Right, so he's saying that before it was instinctive, then it was the age of reason, culminated with Immanuel Kant, and now it's the age of intuition. It's necessary to learn to study with the heart. The intuitive person understands with one letter alone. The intellectual person is so stupid that because of one or more comma, one or less comma, they lose the entire thread of a discourse. Telepathy. The solar plexus is the center of telepathy. We have a true wireless station established in our organism. The solar plexus picks up the mental waves that travel through space and passes them on to our brain. This is how the thoughts of others arrive at our brain. This is called telepathy. The solar plexus is developed with the vowel U. The mantra Chus is very powerful to develop the solar plexus chakra. This mantra is pronounced like this: Chus. Another very interesting exercise in order to awaken the telepathic plexus is the following. The disciple should sit in a comfortable chair with their sight directed towards the east. They imagine that in the east there is a great cross of gold that radiates blue and golden rays. They should imagine that those rays enter through the solar plexus in order to awaken them, give them life. This exercise is practiced 10 minutes daily. It is practiced in the first hours of the morning, in other words, at dawn. The chakra of the solar plexus picks up solar rays and nourishes and develops the other chakras of our astral organism with them. Whosoever develops this chakra acquires the great power of telepathy. The syllable un, prolonging the sound of the letters U and N, can be vocalized during the exercise of the cross of gold at dawn. The solar plexus is our receptive antenna, and our pineal gland is our transmitting center. The chakra has 10 irradiations. Key in order to remember past lives. The clue to remembering our past lives is in the retrospective exercise. The disciple, submerged in profound meditation, should carry out a retrospective recapitulation of all the events which have occurred in their lives, from the present to the past, right? Starting from the present and going backwards. The disciple should try to remember all the successive events in reverse order, beginning with the last ones until going back to remembering the first events of their infancy. All memories of our infancy can be remembered by practicing the retrospective exercise in those instants of dozing off, of falling asleep. In those instants, we can exert ourselves in order to recall the last experiences of our past existence. And thus, in a retrospective order, we can review our entire past and our past lives. The important thing is to practice this retrospective exercise in the instance of dozing off. Thus, in visions, in our sleep, we will remember all our previous lives. The pulmonary chakra permits us to remember our past lives. These chakras are developed with the vowel A, like this. The mantra chas is effective in order to develop the pulmonary chakras. In the moments of dozing, the soul comes out of the physical body and travels throughout the suprasensible worlds. We relive our past reincarnations in the internal worlds. There's a lot more. Here we'll read about the splenic chakra, but then we'll move on to studying the arcana specifically. Whosoever develops the chakra of the spleen acquires the power of commanding the creatures of water. During the night, the splenic chakra picks up the energies that the sun left during the day. With these energies, the splenic chakra transmutes the white blood cells into red blood cells. The splenic chakra is the center of the etheric body. The life of the sun enters our organism through there. The letter M belongs to this chakra. Putting our lips together and then humming, so to speak. This chakra has 6 petals or undulations. Right, he gives a lot more mantras for astral projection, polyvision, and then he quotes from Revelations because he's connecting the chakras with the spine, right? Because he started with the top of the head and he moved down the throat, the chest, the solar plexus, the spleen, right? He descended. And he quotes Revelations. He says, those are each of these centers, each of the chakras, which are in the spinal column, are related with its diverse chakra. Those are the 7 churches that the Apocalypse or Revelations talks to us about. Those are the 7 seals that the Lamb opens with his flaming sword. Those are the 7 seals that the Kundalini opens to convert us into gods. And I saw in the right hand of him that sat on the thrones a book written within, and on the backside sealed with 7 seals. And I saw a strong angel proclaiming with a loud voice, "Who is worthy to open the book and loose the seals thereof?" From Revelations 5, verses 1 and 2. And I saw when the Lamb opened one of the seals, and I heard, as it were, the noise of thunder, one of the 4 beasts saying, "Come and see." And I saw, and behold, a white horse, and he that sat on him had a bow, and a crown was given unto him, and he went forth conquering and to conquer. And when he had opened the second seal, I heard the second beast say, "Come and see." And there went out another horse that was red, and power was given to him that sat thereon, to take peace from the earth, that they should kill one another, and there was given unto him a great sword. And when he had opened the third seal, I heard the third beast say, "Come and see." And I beheld, and lo, a black horse, and he had sat on him a pair of scales in his hand. And I heard a voice in the midst of the four beasts say, "A measure of wheat for a penny, and 3 measures of barley for a penny, and see thou hurt not the oil and the wine." And when he had opened the fourth seal, I heard the voice of the fourth beast say, "Come and see." And lo and behold, a pale horse, and the name that sat on him was Death, and hell followed him. And power was given unto them over the fourth part of the earth, to kill with a sword, and with hunger, and with death, and with the beasts of the earth. And when he had opened the fifth seal, I saw under the altar the souls of them that were slain for the word of God, and for the testimony which they held. And they cried in a loud voice, saying, "Flow long, O Lord, holy and true. Doest thou not judge and avenge our blood on them that dwell on the earth?" The white robes were given unto every one of them, and it was said unto them that they should rest for a little season, until their fellow servants also, and their brethren, that they should be killed as they were, should be fulfilled. And I beheld when he had opened the sixth seal, and lo, there was a great earthquake, and the sun became black as sackcloth of hair, and the moon became as blood, and the stars of heaven fell unto the earth, even as a fig tree casteth her untimely figs, when she is shaken of a mighty wind. And the heaven departed as a scroll when it is rolled together, and every mountain and island were moved out of their places. And the kings of the earth, and the great men, and the rich men, and every bondman, and every free man, hid themselves in the dens and in the rocks of the mountains, and said to the mountains and rocks, "Fall on us, and hide us from the face of him that sitteth on the throne, and from the wrath of the Lamb. For the great day of his wrath is come, and who shall be able to stand?" Revelations chapter 6. And then the last section is from chapter 8, verses 1 through 5. And when he had opened the seventh seal, there was silence in heaven, and the space of half an hour. And I saw the 7 angels which stood before God, and to them were given 7 trumpets. And another angel came and stood at the altar, giving a golden censer, and there was given unto him much incense, that he should offer it with the prayers of all saints upon the golden altar which was before the throne. And the smoke of the incense, which came with the prayers of the saints, ascended up before God out of the angel's hand. And the angel took the censer and filled it with the fire from the altar, and cast it into the earth. And there were voices, and thundering, and lightning, and an earthquake. So that's the end of what we're going to quote from chapter 3 of Manual Practical Magic. And now we're going to move into the second book that we're reading, the Esoteric Course of Kabbalah. First, we'll check and see if there's any questions or comments. Yeah, and somebody commented that practicing is good. Yeah, exactly. That's why we do the meditation on Friday nights. Tomorrow night we do meditation, or night in the northern hemisphere of the Americas, so that we can practice together, because the mantras are what we need in order to convert ourselves into magicians. Because in order to know what's going on, we need intuition. It's better than all the spy technology that they use to monitor us, including maybe some of these vehicles through which we're sharing this message with you, right? Intuition is excellent. And what we have to do is accustom ourselves to using that language, the language of intuition, which is the language of symbolism, and to understand how Our heart, because intuition is related with our heart, is speaking to us. That being said, let's move on to our next reading. Remember that the Zephyr Yetzirah marvelously describes all the splendors of the world and the extraordinary play of the Sephiroth in God and in the human being through the 32 paths of wisdom. You guys know the Zephyr Yetzirah? It's a traditionally Hebraic Kabbalistic book, we could say. In the mystery of the sexes are hidden the whole science of the Sephirah. The soul has three aspects: Nefesh, the animal soul; Ruach, the thinking soul; and Neshama, the spiritual soul. The Sephiroth are the substratum of these three aspects of the souls. They are atomic. Zohar insists on the three principal elements which compose the world. These elements are fire, water, and air. Fire corresponds to the letter Shin. Water corresponds to the letter Mem. Shin is the 21st letter. Mem is the 13th letter. Air corresponds to Aleph, the first letter. The magician. Air clearly is going to be related with vocalization, with the verb, right? These elements are the perfect synthesis of the four manifested elements, right? Because we have these three, and then the physical body is considered the earth. These also have locations in the body, the fire, water, and air. The powerful mantra I-A-O encompasses the magical power of the triangle of these principal elements. Remember, we're on Arcanum 3, so we could think of a triangle as the synthesizing symbol of it. I, ignis, fire; A, aqua, water; O, origo, spiritual principle. I-A-O is the supreme mantra of the Arcanum AZF. Whosoever wants to raise the soul of the world through the medullary channel, right, the spine, must work with the sulfur, fire, with the mercury, water, and with the salt, philosophical earth. It is only in this way that one can be born in spirit and in truth. The 12 secret keys of the Benedictine of Erfurt, Basil Valentine, Basilis Valentinius, are found within the Arcanum AZF. The entire secret of the great work is enclosed within the Azoth manuscript of Valentine. And Azoth is the sexual creative principle of nature. The great work has been realized when the rose of the Spirit blooms upon the cross of our body. Azoth, as we shall see, is a combination of two things. A and Z are Latin. O and TH are like the letter Aleph, the first letter of the Hebrew alphabet, and TH is the Tau or Tav, the last letter. So it's first and last letter of Latin, first and last letter of Hebrew. The Alpha and Omega if it was Greek. The three principal elements are the three mother letters of the Hebraic alphabet: Shin, Mem, and Aleph. When one is practicing the Arcanum AZF, one is working with these three principal elements. Within the great laboratory of nature, one works with mercury, sulfur, and salt. When one practices this Arcanum, and this is how the lead of the personality is transmuted into the gold of the spirit. And this is how we elaborate the golden child of alchemy within ourselves. These three principal elements become manifested within the four elements of nature. There exists the heat of fire and air, the humidity of air and water, and the dryness of fire and earth. These are the three principal elements, and this is Iao. And these are the sulfur, the mercury, and the salt contained within the four elements of nature. And the elemental paradises of nature are found in these three principal elements. The Kabbalist alchemists must learn how to use sulfur, mercury, and salt. All right, I'll just see if there's any questions or comments. Doesn't look like it, so we'll continue. The larvas of the astral body, incubi, succubi, basilisks, dragons, phantoms, etc., are destroyed by putting sulfur powder inside of our shoes. The sulfur originates invisible vapors that rise in order to disintegrate these types of larvas. Malignant forms of thoughts and larvas enclosed within any room are disintegrated when one burns sulfur upon a flaming piece of charcoal. Okay, so here he's giving a technique to clean the environment. However, let's understand what happens. When you get sulfur powder and put it on a charcoal, which would be, there's a good brand called Three Kings that makes charcoals. A lot of people use them to burn incense, or they use them if they're smoking a hookah. They're a cylinder, short cylinder, a circle, like a little circle. You light it, it catches, and then about 5-10 minutes after, it sort of turns white. It's very hot. You have to have it on something fireproof. And you put a little powder of sulfur, maybe the size of your thumbnail, something like that. When you do that, you need to leave the room, because what happens is, and you can't have other beings in the room, other animals or whatever, because it sucks all the air out of the room, and it makes a very not good situation. I don't know the chemistry of it, but you can't be in the room when you do that. You put it on the charcoal, leave the room, close the door, and come back in like an hour, and it'll kind of smell weird. So that's to clean the environment. There's other methods to clean the environment as well. We recommend those in the meditation class on tomorrow, same time. Juniper berry, Palo Santo, or juniper in general, including the berry, copal, benzoin, camphor. Those ones you can be in the room. Camphor is also pretty strong. It can make your eyes burn and tear up. And I heard from a person from India, they said that because they use it a lot, they use camphor a lot in India, that they say that when your eyes tear up, that your eyes are getting cleaned, something like that. Okay, so returning to the text. Quicksilver, mercury, is useful to prepare lustral water. The great astrologer Nostradamus spent many nights before a copper vessel or a copper container filled with water. This great seer, by looking into these waters, saw the future events that he left written in his famous prophecies. If we add quicksilver to water and place a mirror at the bottom of the copper container, a marvelous clairaudience is formed. We advise the use of any copper container with the exception of the cauldron. Cauldron is not the exact translation. It's a special copper sort of bowl thing. We don't really have it in the United States. It's sort of a something that's more specific to Latin America. The cauldron is a symbol of black magic. Copper is intimately related with the pituitary gland and has the power of awakening clairvoyance. Salt is also used often in white magic. Salt must be combined with alcohol. If alcohol and salt are placed within a container, and if this mixture is put upon the fire, a marvelous smoke offering is obtained. This can only be done when invoking the gods of medicine. When a sick person needs to be healed, then they will come to your call. So you get a vessel that's not going to crack when it gets really hot. Some people use like a cooking pan, but you could get a Pyrex bowl that's relatively deep, maybe about deeper than your hand, slightly deeper than your hand. And then you put the salt first. It should be kosher salt. And then you put rubbing alcohol between about 85%, so you can mix 70 and 90% to get that. You just cover it so that it's just a little bit moist. Like you don't want it that the rubbing alcohol is over the top of the salt. You pour it in and then it sort of absorbs the salt, so it's sort of an even mixture. When you light it, you need to move your hand away very quickly. Anyway, he gives more explanation about that in his book, Logos Mantram Theurgy. It's either that one or Esoteric Treatise of Theurgy, about how to do that practice. But ideally, that practice is outside or with tall ceilings, because otherwise it can leave a mark on the ceiling because it's fire. The sulfur fire totally burns without leaving any residuals, and sulfur is the sheen of the Zohar, and the water, the Ein Seminis, is the mem of the Zohar. By means of successive transmutations, fire and water are reduced to the Kabbalistic Aleph, and this is what the alchemist calls Alkest, or Alkaest. This is how the Iao is realized, and this is the way to open the 12 faculties of the soul. The soul is Christified. The Kundalini blooms upon our fertile lips made verb. The ternary is the word, plentitude, fecundity, nature, the generation of the three worlds. Arcanum 3 of the Kabbalah is that woman dressed with the sun, with the moon under her feet, and crowned with 12 stars. The symbol of the Queen of Heaven is the Empress of the Tarot. She is a mysterious crowned woman seated with the scepter of command, and the globe of the world is on top of the scepter. She is Urania Venus of the Greeks, the Christified soul. Man is Arcanum 1 of the Tarot. Woman is Arcanum 2 of the same. The Christified soul is the result of the sexual union of both. The secret is the Arcanum AZF. Woman is the mother of the verb. Christ is always the child of immaculate conceptions. It is impossible to be born without a mother. When the initiate is ready to incarnate the verb, a woman appears in the superior worlds as if pregnant, suffering labor pains in delivery. Jesus on the cross said to his mother, "Woman, behold your son," addressing John. Then he said to the disciple, "Behold your mother." And from that hour, the disciple took her. This is in the book of John, chapter 19, verses 26 and 27. The word John, in Spanish it's Juan, can be rearranged as follows. Ieouan, the verb, the dragon of wisdom. Really, she is the mother of the verb, and woman officiates upon the altar of the blessed goddess, mother of the world. Now, brethren, know that the venerable priestess, who's your divine mother, Kundalini, is your spouse. Pray and meditate as follows. So before we cover the prayer and meditation, let's understand that he's saying that our spouse is our priest or priestess. And this is the way we should understand them when we're practicing the Arcanum AZF. Here's the invocation. O Isis, mother of the cosmos, root of love, trunk, bud, leaf, flower, and seed of all that exists, we conjure thee, naturalizing force. We call upon the queen of space and of the night, and kissing her loving eyes, drinking the dew from her lips, breathing the sweet aroma of her body, exclaiming, O thou Nut, eternal satiety of heaven, who art the primordial soul, who art what was and what shall be, whose veil no mortal has lifted. When thou art beneath the irradiating stars of the nocturnal and profound sky of the desert, with purity of heart and in the flame of the serpent, we call upon thee. Pray and meditate intensely. The Divine Mother teaches her children. This prayer must be performed while combining meditation with drowsiness. Then illumination emerges as in visions of dreams. Thus the Divine Mother approaches the devotee in order to instruct them in the great mysteries. So Arcanum 3, we can see, is related with the Divine Mother, who manifests herself in all of nature, and we are a sort of an expression of nature. We're kind of in between nature and the divine and divinity. So that was the end of chapter 3 of Esoteric Course of Kabbalah. So now we're going to jump into our last book that we're going to read from, Initiatic Path and the Arcana of Tarot and Kabbalah. First we read the description of the card, but let's see if we have any questions or comments. Not at this time, so we'll keep going. Description of the card. The Third Arcanum, the Empress. In the central part, there is a woman crowned with 12 stars. 1 plus 2 equals 3, which represents the 12 zodiacal signs, the 12 doors of the holy city, the 12 keys of Basil Valentine, the 12 worlds of the solar system of Ors. Upon her head is a crown, and arising from it is a serpent, symbol of mastery, indicating that she is arisen. In her right hand is the staff of power, and with her left she reaches out to the dove, which represents the Holy Spirit. Her clothing is solar, all indicating that she is the Christified soul, product of Arcana 1 and 2, right? The result of Arcanum 1 and 2. She is seated upon the now perfectly worked cubic stone. In the waters of life, the moon is beneath her feet, indicating that one must trample upon it in order to convert it into the sun. Maybe something like how in olden times they would make wine with their feet by stomping on the grapes, squeezing out what is valuable from it or what is useful for them. Esoteric significance of Arcanum 3. The number 3 is the Empress. It is the divine light. The light in itself is the Divine Mother. It corresponds to that part of Genesis which said, "And God said, let there be light, and there was light." Since the first day of creation, it is also the number of the third Logos, which dominates every form of creation. It is the rhythm of the Creator. The celestial mother in the maternal realm signifies material production, and the same in the spiritual realm signifies spiritual production. If one does a very profound analysis of 3 numbers, one discovers a very interesting aspect. The number 1 is the Father who is in secret, the monad, and it is from here that the Divine Mother Kundalini, the duad, is born. She in turn unfolds into the number 3, which is Father, Mother, and the Son or child, who is the divine and immortal spirit in each living thing. And the three, Osiris the father, Isis the mother, and Horus the son, form that which the sacred book of the Maya, the Popol Vuh, calls the heart of heaven. The son or child in turn unfolds into the animic soul, which each one carries within. The Zohar, the oldest Hebrew book, and the basis of the Kabbalah in the Old Testament, insist upon three principal elements which compose the worlds. These elements are Shin, signifying fire in the Kabbalah, Mem, signifying water, and Aleph, signifying air. These three primary elements are the perfect synthesis of all that is, of the four manifested elements. The magical power of the triangle of the principal elements is summarized in the powerful mantra Iao. I, ignis, fire. A, aqua, water. O, origo, principle, spirit, air. In all the mystery schools, these mantras should not be missing. What we are seeing here is the esotericism of the Holy Three. Iao is the fundamental mantra of the Maithuna. It is within the ninth sphere that it must be resounded. One who wants to raise the soul of the world along the spinal column must work with sulfur, fire, with mercury, water, and with salt, the philosophical earth. These are the three elements, the three principles needed in order to work in the fiery forge of Vulcan. In Basil Valentine's manuscript Azoth, the secret of the great work is found. In the 12 keys, the 12 secret keys are the sexual energy of the Logos, when the rose of the Spirit blossoms on the cross of our body. The three principal elements are the three Hebrew letters which correspond to the three principal elements within the great work of nature. In this way, we manufacture the living gold. One who does not make spiritual gold is not an esotericist. One descends to the ninth sphere and makes it in the fiery forge of Vulcan. Remember, the ninth sphere is Yesod. The Kabbalist alchemist must learn to use sulfur, mercury, and salt. By using sulfur in the shoes, the larvae of the astral body and the incubi and succubi, which are formed by the erotic imagination, are destroyed. They are transparent like the air and absorb the vitality of the being. This is one of the reasons that we should clean ourselves with incense, because these larvae can steal our vitality. In the cinemas with morbid films, which are actually dens of black magic, they adhere to one, and one has to carry powdered sulfur in one's shoes, and with this the larvae are destroyed. By burning sulfur on pieces of charcoal, harmful thought forms and the larvae within a place are destroyed. Right? We talked about this, and the author recommends not going to the movie theater because the whole purpose of the movie is for us to forget about our life. And as a result, what we're doing, since as we know, initiation is our life itself, we're losing the continuity, and we are forgetting about ourselves in fourth way terminology in order to become identified with the symbols that they give us in those movies. And for the most part, their symbols, the way they play with the imagery, they're not combining things which are realistic, which are how the alchemist must combine things. They teach us that through their methodology we'll be successful. But the reality is, as we can see, it's not how we should be combining or working with creative principles. We need to work with the three principles, the three elements. Mercury serves to prepare lustral water. In the bottom of a copper receptacle filled with water, this should not be a pan, place mercury and a mirror. This is used to awaken clairvoyance. Nostradamus' divinations were made with copper and mercury. Salt has its virtues. When someone who is ill needs to be cured, one can mix salt with alcohol and light it on fire in order to invoke the masters of medicine, Adonai, Hippocrates, Galen, and Paracelsus. So those are some of the masters of medicine that you can call upon when you pray and combine it with the practice that he gave with the salt and the alcohol. As we mentioned, you can look in the book Logos Mantram Thurgi. Talks more about that. The ternary, the number 3, is very important. It is the word, plenitude, fecundity, nature, the generation of the 3 worlds. Arcanum 3 of the Kabbalah is the woman robed with the sun, with the moon at her feet, and crowned with 12 stars. The symbol of the Queen of Heaven is the Empress of the Tarot, a mysterious crowned woman, seated and with the scepter of command, and in whose extreme appearance we see the globe of the world. This is the Urania Venus of the Greeks, the Christified soul, the Christified soul, the celestial mother. The Divine Mother, Arcanum 3, is the particular mother of each one of us. She is the mother of our being, who must trample the moon, the lunar ego, in order for the 12 stars, the 12 faculties, to shine resplendently upon her head. In order to create, one needs the 3 primary forces, which come from the Father and exist in all of creation: the positive force, the negative force, and the neutral force. Man is Arcanum 1 of the Tarot, the positive force. Woman is Arcanum 2, the negative force. And the Christified soul is the result of the sexual union of the 2. The secret is the Arcanum AZF, which transforms the moon into the sun and represents 3 aspects: positive, negative, and neutral. All right, here we go. Okay, somebody's saying that something happens and I can't get here in time. All right, well, luckily it's recorded, so you should be able to go back over it. Someone quotes John 3:20, 21. Everyone who practices wickedness hates the light and does not come to the light, so that their actions may not be exposed. Okay. And then they say, interesting view of the movies manipulation. Our focus is taken 100% during those times. Yep, that's the danger of movie theaters. All right, let's continue with this next section, the initiatic significance of Arcanum 3. In Kabbalah, everything is number and mathematics. The number is holy. It is infinite, because in the universe, everything is measure and weight. God is a geometrician for the Gnostics. He says elsewhere, God geometricizes. Mathematics are sacred. In the Pythagorean school, anyone who did not know mathematics, music, etc., was not admitted. Numbers are sacred. The Sefer Yetzirah, the sacred and very ancient Hebrew book of the rabbis, describes in a mysterious form all of the splendors of the world and the extraordinary workings of the Sephiroth in God and in man through the 32 paths of wisdom. The whole science of the Sephiroth is hidden in the mystery of the sexes. And the science of numbers is the secret key of the Sefer Yetzirah. One may simply think of 32 paths, but in reality, the 32 paths of wisdom are equal to 5, because 3 plus 2 equals 5, which is equal to the star of 5 points, to the pentalpha, that is to say, to the human being. This means that all the paths are in the human being. Everything is within oneself. a very symbolic language is used, and thus 32 paths are spoken of. The Kabbalists say that the soul, in reality, has three aspects. Nefesh, the first part, the animal soul. Ruach, the second part, the thinking soul. And Neshama, the third part, the spiritual soul. The substratum of these three aspects of the soul are the Sephiroth, which are atomic. First aspect, Nefesh. One must differentiate between the solar astral body and the lunar bodies. The latter are active during the night and after death. These bodies have conventionally been called the astral body, but this is not correct. Whosoever wants to enjoy the luxury of having this body must realize the work of the Mithuna, where the hydrogen C12 is created. HC12. H is hydrogen. C or T corresponds to the musical note. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, C or T. And 12 corresponds to the 12 laws, which vibrate in our organism with the musical scale. So if we take out the explanation of the HC12, it says, whosoever wants to enjoy the luxury of having this body must realize the work of the Mithuna, where the hydrogen C12 is created, which vibrates in our organism with the musical scale. If the practice is intensive, then it crystallizes as the solar body, the solar astral body. It is the lot of the initiate to descend to the worlds of the infernos for a duration of 40 days. And it is his job to recapitulate all the evil deeds and frightening dramas of past reincarnations. Little by little, one leaves those tenebrous regions, but before leaving, the three souls, Nefesh, Ruach, and Neshama, are submitted to ordeals. How interesting it is to see the animal soul submitted to an ordeal. The same thing for the thinking soul and the essence, which is also submitted to an ordeal. The Bible says, Nefesh, Nefesh, blood is paid with blood. Within the Hebraic words, wisdom is hidden. Second aspect, Ruach, which is the thinking, emotional soul located within the lunar bodies of desire. Third aspect, Neshama. What there is of soul located within the previously mentioned principles is submitted to very difficult ordeals. When the initiate triumphs, then he or she later ascends to the causal world to meet with Sanat Kumara, a venerable elder mentioned in very ancient religions, and who is one of the 4 thrones about whom the Bible speaks. 3 have gone, only one remains. He wields the rod of Aaron, the scepter of kings. He is ineffable. He has a relationship with Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas, the 3 gunas in equilibrium. If you're on that page, you can click on that to find out more about those gunas, but we're not going to explain it now other than to say when the universe is manifested at the dawn of creation, it's as a result of something that happens between these 3 gunas. Sanat Kumara gives the esoteric initiation of the solar astral body. We talked about him before, right? There's a practice in the handouts related with him to call upon him to assist us. Synthesis of Arcanum 3. Our disciples must learn to travel in the astral body in order to visit the white lodges of the world, where they will be able to personally converse with the Christ and with all the masters of the White Lodge. The atoms of laziness are a serious obstacle in order to progress towards the superior worlds. The great law is the return of life to the superior worlds. Pray and meditate intensely. The Divine Mother teaches her children. Prayer must be combined with meditation and sleep. Or it says literally, prayer must be combining meditation with sleep. Then, as in the vision of a dream, illumination arises. The Divine Mother comes to the devotee in order to instruct them in the great mysteries. All right, that's the end of the material we're going to cover for Arcanum 3. The handout that we'll cover at the beginning of next class will be at the bottom. So now we want to open it up for any other questions or comments that you may have. Please submit them in the comments area. Thanks for hanging in there. This one is a little bit longer than an hour, but we try and keep it to right about an hour so it's not too much. We know it's a lot of information, especially if it's the first time hearing it. We do recommend studying this material multiple times because there's a lot of what they call Easter eggs, right? There's a lot of secret, hidden information that's inside there. We try to talk a little bit about some things, but there's a lot of information, and also it's something that has to resonate in our heart for us to understand it. Through intuition, right? So again, thank you for your participation, for your attention during this class. We want to invite you to our meditation tomorrow, same time, and the class next week as well. So if you guys don't have any questions or comments, then we'll wrap it up there. Somebody says thank you for your time and knowledge, but I tell you that it's not mine at all. It doesn't belong to me. Just trying to share something that's helped me, benefited me. All right, well, again, thank you guys, and we want to wish you the best in your esoteric work, and please join us tomorrow for meditation if you're able. And in the meantime, we wish you the best.